right, the first question on 5.8, we are trying to graph the two lines and find the point where they touch and intersect. Because there are no inequalities, there will be no shading. You just graph two lines, see where they touch. So the first one, I'm just going to take it over to the side. I have negative x minus 10, which means I'm going to plug in values into the parentheses. If you want to, you can use Desmos or if you have like a handheld calculator. You would type negative, plug a number in, minus 10. I'm going to plug a 0 in. 0 is at negative 10, which fits on my graph right here. If I plug a 1 in, 1 down 11 will not fit on my graph. So I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to plug a negative value in. Do you care which negative value I plug in? You can pick, okay, any number. I'm just going to change the 1 to a negative 1 then. That'll be easy. Negative 1 is down 9. Negative 1 is down 9. You'll notice the dot lines up with where 11 would have been. This is just going to help me guide my line so I get it straight. There's my line for the first equation. My second equation, same thing, I'm going to use my calculator again. Negative 2/3 x minus 8. I have to remember the negative on there. Negative 2/3 x is next to the fraction minus 8. I substitute a 0 in. 0's at negative 8. If I plug a 3 into the bottom, or plug a 3 in, the bottom number will go away. Negative 2 minus 8 is negative 10. Zero down 8. 3 is down 10. Oops, that's 2. There we go. 3 is down 10. If I check, it's 2, 3, 2 over 1, 2, 3, 2 over 1, 2, 3. Just to help me guide my line. On the computer, it's a little bit easier because it makes sure your line is straight. It intersects right here. The intersection or solution would be at negative 7, comma, down 3.
Need your number of skills.
Oh, did I get off? My graph might be off a little. I'm going to check it really quick. I think I might have gotten off. Ah, goodness. I'll use my other graph just to make sure. I'm just going to regraph it to make sure I did it. I think I got off when I was counting. The green one was at 0 down 8, 3 down 10. That's up 2 over 3, up 2, 1, 2, 3. The blue was down 10, 10 down 9. So it hit right here. So I was off. My blue dots hit at -6, down 4. On your computer, when you were graphing these, you know how when you click it, it automatically creates your line so it's straight? It should hit at whole numbers. If your intersection's a teeny bit off, then one of your points was off. So check your 4 points. Okay. The next section is our word problems. We are going to skip A. So cross it off. And we are going to do question B. For question B, we have tickets to a concert cost 10 in advance and 15 at the door. If 120 tickets are sold for a total of $1,390, how many of the tickets were purchased in advance? So I need to write 2 equations. I need a ticket equation and I need a money equation. If I write a ticket equation, what type of tickets did I have? I had one in advance and one at the door. Do you want to use A and D or X and Y? You can pick. Anybody care what letters? X and Y? Okay, X plus Y should equal the total tickets sold. The total tickets sold were 120. Then I need a money equation. How much were the tickets if you bought them in advance? $10. Plus at the door, $15. Equals how much was the total amount they made off of their concert at the door? $1,390. Now I'm going to use substitution to solve this. Well, let's see, did it say when? Okay. So from there, because we have only gone over substitution, I'm going to try and get my tickets to be a y equals equation. So first, I want a y equals so I can plug it in. if I solve for y would equal 120 minus the tickets bought in advance. So I just minus the x away. Now there's just y on the left. That allows me to take this and plug it in for the y, which I'm gonna run out a teeny bit of room. So I had 10x plus 15. I replace the y with 120 minus x equals 1390. My second step is to distribute 15 times 120. So I'd have 10x plus 15 times 120. There's no x on that number. Then I do 15 times negative x. That's negative 15x equals 1390. $10x and negative 15x put together is negative 5x. Subtract the 118, or sorry, the 1,800. Oops, I put that backwards. Bless you. That would be a 1. Negative 410. I'm going to check it. 1390 minus 1800 is negative 410. I then divide the negative 410 by a negative 5. X is equal to 82. What would y equal? Does anybody think they know how to find how many tickets were bought at the door? I know 82 people bought tickets in advance. How many total tickets were sold? 120. So how do I get 82 to go to 120? Minus what I got for x will leave me the leftover tickets. So tickets, how many tickets were purchased in advance? Those were the first tickets I had that had a 10 on it. That means X were my advance tickets. There were 82. There were 38 tickets at the door. Question C. Try to leave the room. Question C, we're dealing with money. It says that if Miranda has 2 more nickels than quarters, I'm going to use that to build an equation. If I have nickels and quarters, which one has 2 more? Nickels has 2 more than quarters. So this is going to look weird. But in order to say that nickels has 2 more, I have to put a +2 on the Q. Nickels is equal to how many quarters you have, but you have to add 2 to it to find the total amount of nickels. That's where the +2 comes from. Okay, then my second one is my money amount. Does anybody know how much a nickel's worth? Yeah. 5? Nickels are worth 5 cents. How much are quarters worth? 25 cents? And let's look for my total. They have a combined value of 220 cents. How many of each coin does she have? I am going to take my n equals, and I'm going to substitute the q plus 2 in for n. Man, I did not give you guys a bunch of room to write this. And I'm going to use singulars. So I'm going to take this value, and I'm going to plug it in for n. Five q plus 2 plus 25q equals 220. We distribute, that gives me 5q plus 10 plus 25q equals 220. How many q's total are there if I have 5 and a 25 of them?
30.
Good. I have 30 q's plus a 10 equals 220. Take away 10. 30 quarters is equal to 210 cents. I then divide by the 30. And my quarters are equal to 7. Good job. Which means 7 plus 2 my nickels. 7 plus 2 is 9. So I have 9 nickels in my pocket. So that was C. Now we're going to do D. If Atticus has 16 quarters and dimes in his pocket, that means my equation would look like this. Quarters plus dimes equals 16. They don't say that one has so much more than the other. They just give you the total. How much is a quarter worth? 25. A dime? 10. And how much money I have in my pocket is $2.95. This one, in order to plug in, you can choose what you want to do. Do you want to have Q by itself or D by itself? Just going to do Q. Q equals 16. To move the D over with the 16, I would subtract it. I'm just getting Q by itself, which allows me to substitute this in for Q. This D looks like a 0. Maybe I'll make it a lowercase. Then it will look like a 6. We'll just leave it. It'll be fine. All right, then I distribute 25 times that 16. 25 times 16 is 400 minus 25D plus 10D equals 295. What happens when I combine negative 25 plus 10?
Negative 15.
And if I want to check, let's say I don't know, I would type negative 25 and a plus 10, which gives me negative 15 Ds. And I have a positive 400. The 400, I'm just going to move it to plus 400, equals 295. We then subtract the 400. Negative 15D is equal to 295 minus 400. We then divide it. And my number of dimes, negative 105 divided by negative 15. is 7. And if I want my quarters, to find my quarters, I would just say, what is 16 minus 7? 16 take away 7 is 9 quarters. On your assignment, let me know if you get stuck on these. Setting them up is the new part. You have done the solving before. It's just setting up the two equations that might be kind of difficult at first. Turn the page once you are done. Last ones on your assignment for today are review on how to graph linear inequalities. My first two graphs are in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to pull that over here. My inequality means that my line will be solid, and I will shade down because it is less. My equation is 1/4 x plus 1. 1/4 x plus 1, I will substitute values in. 1/4 x plus 1. If I plug a 0 in, the fraction will go away. Then I'm going to plug a 4 in because I have a 4 in the denominator, which will give me 1 plus 1 is 2. When I plug a 4 in, my output is a 2. 0 up 1. 4 is up 2. It is a solid line. And I would shade down. Second equation, it will be solid. And I will shade up because it is greater. My equation would be negative 2x plus 2. If I plug a 0 in here, my output will be positive 2. You can check it. 0 is at 2. If I plug a 1 in, 1 is at 0. 0 up 2, put a dot. 1, 0, put a dot. If you want to fill in, your computer should fill in automatically. Solid line. And I shade up. So I would go up from my dots and click, and it should auto shade for you. Last question, you just have to solve for the y or find intercepts if you want to. You can choose. I'm going to solve for y. So Let's do the top one first. So I have negative x plus 2y less than or equal to negative 4. I'm going to solve it. You do not have to do this method. When I move my x over to this other side, I'm going to change the sign, which will give me 2y is less than or equal to a positive x minus 4. We then divide by 2. This fraction, you can leave it like x over 2, or you can write it as 1/2 x. 4 divided by 2 is 2. I know that it will be solid. I will shade down. And when I plug into my calculator, it should look like this. 1/2 parentheses minus 2. 1/2 parentheses minus 2. I'm going to plug a 0 in. 0 is down 2. Plug a 2 in. 2 would be down 1. Zero down 2. Click. Positive 2 is down 1. Click. It should autofill a solid line. And I would shade down, so I would go down and click, and it will auto shade down. For the second equation, I'm going to pull it over, and I'm going to solve it. (6x minus 6y) is greater or equal to negative 36. I'm going to move the x to the other side, which means it will change to a negative. So it would be a negative 6x minus 36. Who remembers what happens when I divide by a negative?
Becomes positive.
Yep, so they will become positives, but I have to do something else. I have to flip my sign. I have to flip my inequality sign. So this would be a y. I would flip the sign to face the other direction. Negative 6 over negative 6 is just a 1. Negative 36 divided by negative 6 is a positive 6. Solid, and I will shade down. If I plug a 0 in, it will be at 6. If I plug a 1 in, 1 plus 6 is 7. 0, 6. 117. That means it'll fill each dot there. And I shade down. So I go down and click, and it auto shades. Let's see how many of those there are. Okay. On your homework today, there are 14 questions. There are only 2 that are like this, that are that difficult on there. Let me know if you get stuck or have questions while you work.